Hello and welcome to the Internet Advertising Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Gawk, and today I'd like to tell you about conversion tracking and pixels. What is a conversion? Conversion is an action that you want your user to take on a page that you can measure. The most obvious thing is a sale if you have an online shop. However, measuring sales might not always be the best idea. Even if you can measure them, they might not happen that often. And if you have 1 or 2 sales a day, you'll have too little data to optimize. So you should think of other things you can measure. Sometimes it's a sign up for an email newsletter. Sometimes it might even be somebody visiting a certain page. For example, if you have a landing page with a couple of subpages, person lands on the first page. If they're interested enough in your product, they'll click to the second page. So you might measure that visit as a conversion. For advertising purposes, however, it's good to know the value of a conversion. Now, if it's a sale, that's going to be pretty obvious. It's how much money you made on the sale. Sometimes you might have a lifetime value of a customer that's higher than just that sale, but it's a good figure to start with. And if you're advertising and your sales are covering the cost of the ads, then at least you're breaking even. Maybe you'll make more money later on. You're not losing money. Now, this is a lot harder if you're measuring leads to a newsletter or visit to a certain page, like I said before. So you should first analyze your data and see how much a person doing something like that is worth to you. Once you have that, then you can advertise, you can optimize, and you can set targets for how much you're willing to pay for an action for it to actually make you money. Once you figured out what actions you're interested in, then you can start measuring that. There are many ways to do that. If you advertise on Google and Facebook, it's a very good idea to use their tracking solutions because those will be the easiest to work with and to optimize your ads for. So let's start with Google. In Google, you go to the Tools section and select Conversions. There you can create a new conversion action. You can decide if it's a conversion on a website or in an app or maybe a phone call or if you're uploading conversions from a different system. The easiest version would be from a website, and you can choose your name, the category, that's more for your information. Then you can choose the value. If you want the value to be the same for each conversion, or if you have sales, then you can dynamically insert the value. You can also select if you want to count every conversion. If it's a sale, that makes sense. Or if you're just counting one. For example, if you have signups for a newsletter, same person types in their email twice, it's not really worth more to you. You can also select a conversion window. That would be the window where it's counted as coming from a certain ad, a certain click, a campaign. You can also count view-through conversions. That's Google trying to tell you that even if somebody sees your ad and doesn't click on it, but later converts, that ad actually helped. Now, I'm a performance marketer. I don't really believe in that. Maybe it's because I don't have websites that I want to create a very strong brand for. So I try to set the view-through conversion as short as possible, just one day. And the conversion window could be 30 days, for example. And you can also select the attribution model. If you want the last click method or the first click, or if you want different versions of that linear time decay. Basically, the last click is the simplest model where the last ad that the person clicked on counts as creating that conversion. But if you have a longer process, might have ads on in different parts of the research cycle. For example, first it's people just thinking about a product, then knowing what type of product they want, comparing different products, and you have ads, and you want to make sure that the ads are actually making you money. Say the first ads from the beginning of the funnel. They'll never get the last click, but it might be that people that clicked on the first ad later converted better when clicking on the ads at the end of the funnel. So you can set different attribution models to make sure that those ads from the beginning also have a contribution, and they will show up as creating conversion having some value. Once you've created the tag, you can set it up, put it on your page. You have different options for putting basically the JavaScript that is needed to be on the page that shows up after the conversion on a page load, or you can set it to load on a click. Just make sure you don't put the conversion code on, for example, every page on your site, because then the data is worthless. With Facebook, the process is a bit different. What you do is you create a pixel. What Facebook wants you to do is place this pixel, this JavaScript code, on every page of your site. And then you can add extra lines of code to track certain events, like leads, and you will place that code only on certain pages. Now, this comes in handy later on. I'll talk about pixels anyway, but if you just want to track certain conversions, there's no problem with placing just the Facebook pixel and the event code on a certain page. You don't have to have it on every page of your site if you don't want to. Before I continue, let me talk about our sponsor today. Do you run an email newsletter for your business? It can really help you grow, catch lost sales, and make you more profitable. Try out the free Get Response list building program. It's an email marketing course that covers everything you need to know to grow your list by up to 10,000 subscribers in as little as 90 days. Go to internetadvertisingpodcast.com/getresponse to find out more about the free course. I've been using GetResponse since 2010, so that's 8 years, and I'm very happy with their service. They have excellent deliverability, and they work hard to help sort out any problems with email providers that might want to mark your marketing emails as spam. They also have a very advanced marketing automation solution and offer A/B testing, email analytics, and more. If you have a larger list, you can opt for GetResponse Enterprise. Your service gets hosted on 2 separate IPs and can handle sending up to 1 million emails in 24 hours. So go to internetadvertisingpodcast.com/getresponse to find out about the free list building course, as well as about what GetResponse has to offer. It might be a bit of a hassle to set everything up. Once you do, you can take your ads to a different level. If you don't have the conversion columns in Google Ads, you should go to Modify Columns and turn them on. You can show how many conversions you had, cost per conversion, the conversion rate, conversion value if you have conversions that have different values, say if you have a store. And once you're running ads, you can see exactly which ad, which keyword made that conversion happen. Also, once you have a little data, you can start setting automatic bidding. So you can have, the first thing is enhanced cost per click. So you set your own bids, how much you're willing to pay for a click. But if Google sees that a certain click is more likely to generate conversion, it will set the rate a bit higher. The next level would be automatic bidding CPA. So you just set how much conversion is worth to you. That's why I said you should know how much it's worth, how much it makes sense to pay. And then you can have Google automatically select where your ads should show for how much money. This is something that you can't do by hand, especially on the display network. You might do it on search, but still Google has more data, for example, about the user that's searching, so things you don't necessarily have if you're bidding manually. But on the display network, there's just no way you can manually adjust everything like Google can automatically. This is where it makes sense to have conversions that are easier to attain, not a sale that happens once a day. Because if you have a newsletter that 50 or 100 or 500 people sign up for every day, it's a lot easier for Google to take that data and optimize it. Now, understand it's a lot harder to know how much an email newsletter is worth to you, a newsletter subscriber. But it's going to be hard to optimize for 1 or 2 sales a day. So just keep that in mind. It's similar on Facebook. You can also see how many conversions you have And you can also, when you're setting up an ad, select which pixel you want the ad to be connected to, and then Facebook can optimize for certain actions that you're interested in. For example, leads. After a while, after it's gathered some data, you can have a pretty nice system that automatically sets your bid, optimizes them, and the leads that you want, for example, cost more or less what you set them to be. Something that's related to conversion tracking is pixels. When you create Google conversion, they tell you that one of the ways of placing the code on your page is to have this generic code that's on every page and then a specific code just on the conversion pages, just like Facebook wants you to do. If you do it that way, then each person is tagged. Every time a browser opens your website, pixel, just an image one by one, or some JavaScript is loaded, and data about that person is saved. You can use that to later target people and have remarketing campaigns, meaning you can have a list of people that visited your website or that visited certain pages of your website. For example, certain categories, or maybe they went into the shopping cart, meaning they were better users than just browsers looking around your store. Or maybe people that are signed up for your newsletter and clicked from links from that newsletter and visited pages that were only accessible from that newsletter. You can create all these different types of users, and then you can show ads to them again. Now, I'm sure we've all seen ads like that after you browse certain items in a store and you see those items following around. Now, that sometimes might seem strange or might seem not a very smart thing to do, but it is true that you can convert a lot better on those people. So, for example, you can have a list of people that came to your landing page from an ad, for example, or from a different search, not necessarily an ad, and exclude people that converted and signed up for your newsletter. And that way you can send them to a landing page to tell them that maybe in fact they would like to sign up for the newsletter. Those ads will probably get higher click-through rates because people remember your page and they might get better conversions too. So there are lots of different possibilities. This is on Google Ads and on Facebook. Having these lists is also nice because you can create similar audiences. I talked about this a little with Facebook similar audiences, but you can do the same thing on Google as well. So if you have a list of people, a remarketing list or a conversion list, you can have those systems create lists of people that are similar. So you might not exactly know what type of person converts or what type of person visits your page, but you can have Google or Facebook create a similar list for you. Now, it's not always going to be perfect, but it might be a good place to start if you don't know exactly what to target, or if you just want to try a second campaign to see how that works. These similar lists sometimes perform very well. I talked about the simplest situation where somebody visits your page and you can set up a conversion code there and easily measure their conversion. But there are different instances where that's not possible. For example, if you have a client list in a different system, you can't place a conversion pixel there. Or if you have conversions in your store, but you know these people's email addresses, for example, some way to tie them to the internet, you can upload conversions manually into Google or into Facebook to create your conversions and to also tie those people to clicks on ads, because that might be how they actually found out about your store and what led them to convert. There's also the case of affiliates. If you're sending traffic to somebody else's website, there's no way they're going to let you place a Google Ads conversion code on their page or a Facebook pixel. That happens, but very rarely. But you still want to know which campaign converted, which keywords made you money and which ones didn't. There are systems called conversion tracking or affiliate conversion tracking systems, for example, AdBridge, ClickMeter, lots of them. Some are web-based, some are systems that you put on your own server. You can make your own simple system if you want to. The way that this works is you send all your campaign traffic through a special link in the system. You can insert data into that link, meaning the campaign ID, the keyword, the ad ID, all the data you later want to know for your analytics. The system also creates a unique click ID, so each click is saved in a database. The system remembers what person it was, what type of browser, where they came from, and that unique click ID is sent to the affiliate network. Each affiliate network always lets you set a parameter for your links. So the click might be 123. The affiliate network saves it on their end, that click 123 converted, and once that happens, you can set up postbacks, meaning the affiliate network informs you, your server or that service you're using, opens a certain URL and sends the data back. Says click 123 converted and made you $100. Then you can log into your system and you can see, oh, that's interesting. This certain click, which says that happened from keyword ABC, converted, and that was campaign number 1, and I made $100 on it. Let me check how much I spent. You log into AdWords, and you see that campaign during that day, the campaign cost you $50. Great, you made $50. So that's what you can do if you're an affiliate and you don't have full control of the websites you're sending traffic to. You're not lost, you can optimize. Unfortunately, this won't let you fully optimize it automatically like Google would, but you might do something with manual uploads. You can try that to later upload those conversions into Google, and if each conversion also saves the Google click ID, you can have that data assigned to certain ads. So there are a lot of possibilities. It might get a bit confusing sometimes, but it's worth it because you can really see which actions you're taking, which campaigns, which ad groups are converting, and which ones are just losing you money. Thanks for listening. You can visit me at internetadvertisingpodcast.com. If you'd like to hear more, be sure to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast client of choice. You can also write me on Twitter. Tell me what you'd like me to talk about. I'm at GocMichael. That's GocMichal. Till next time.